All right. Good afternoon, good afternoon, good afternoon, viewers. Welcome to Punch for Punch. This is Aka. Let me know where you're watching me from. I'm excited today because today I'm not talking about politics. Today I'm talking about policy issues, government policy issues. And today we are going to zero in into the agricultural sector. But you know how we do here. I want to take a poll. I want to make sure that you guys are here and that you are sharing my page. All right. I need a favor. I need you guys to share this video. That way we can reach as many people as possible. Okay. And so do me a favor, go ahead and share this video. Invite people because today we are discussing the agriculture sector. We are discussing the agriculture sector. And today I'm expecting a special guest, Ruth Hansen, to join me. And she's calling me, so I want to make sure that, hey, Ruth, hey, can on Messenger. Mhm. I'm talking to my special guest, by the way. So, and I can, yes, yes, go ahead. Yeah, click on that and follow the prompts. All right. All right. My guest is getting ready to come. Listen, tell me where you're watching me from. The agricultural sector is very important. And I have an announcement to make because what we have done is we don't just want to talk. I don't want to just talk. I want to make concrete steps to help many Zambian people that want to go in agriculture. And so I'm going to make an announcement here. Share this video, invite people here because this is important. If you're a young people there, you need to be on this program. Let me know where you're watching me from so that we can tackle the most important economic sector in Zambia, the agriculture sector. Here is what is happening. What is happening is that I have decided talking is not working. Talking about things is not working. So, what we are going to do is we are going to form a small group of people. We are going to write a policy. Gather here. You need to gather here. Okay. Listen, we are going to write a policy proposal to the Ministry of Agriculture. We are also going to share that proposal with the Ministry of Land. Here is the plan. The plan is that we are going to craft the Citizens Agriculture Empowerment Scheme. The Citizens Empowerment Scheme is a policy that will be driven by the Zambian people themselves. We are going to get the youth involved and the women involved. We are going to get the Ministry of Lands involved, the Ministry of Agriculture involved. The plan is we are going to approach the royal highnesses across 10 provinces. What we are going to do is we are going to negotiate with the royal foundation, the foundations, royal establishments across 10 provinces. And the plan is that we are going to ask for land in those 10 provinces, in Muchinga, in Northern Province, in Eastern Province, in Central Province, in Wapura Province, in Copperbelt Province, in Western Province, Balosiland, in Southern Province, in Northwestern Province. We are going to ask royal foundations or royal establishments to give us land. And I'm not talking about small pieces of land which you can in turn sell. These will be pieces, huge pieces of land, and these huge pieces of land are going to be demarcated into 100 farms. These will be farmlands. These farmlands will then be subdivided to kata, into, they'll be grouped in what we call categories. In these categories, there will be those who want to do fish farming, they'll go into fish farming. You apply and say, I'm going to fish farming, and this is what I'm going to do. Once, hey Ruth,
Hello.
how are you doing?
I'm all right.
Good. Stay right there, Ruth. I'm explaining something right quick before you come in, and I'm gonna bring you in a second
All
here.
right.
Okay. And so just stay with me right there, and I'll bring you back in. And so what we are going to do is we are going then to ask the Ministry of Agriculture to host this scheme. It's an empowerment scheme. What the empowerment scheme is going to do is that we are going to target about an initial 300 people out there. And these farmlands will be serviced. They will be serviced. They will be serviced with infrastructure, water reticulation, and then we are going to ensure that there is also technical support that is given to the farmers that are going to go into farming. The conditions we are asking our people to do is that you can't sell that farm. That's now condition number one. You can't put it on market after you get it and say the farm is on sale. You can't do that. Okay. The next thing that we are going to do is that we are going to provide marketing infrastructure for those farms. The idea is that we either are going to provide local marketing strategies and opportunities to market those produces. And if you're producing chickens and packaging chickens, or if you're doing maize production into feed, or whatever you're doing, growing grain, whatever you're doing, we're going to market that product into the Zambian market. We want those products in Zambian shelves. ShopRite, whatever supermarket is in Zambia, we want that scheme to produce quality products that we can put on Zambian shelves. And the residues, anything that we produce after that, we want to market it to Angola, we want to market it to Mozambique, we want to market it to Malawi and DRC Congo. So do me a favor, share this video and tell me where you're watching me from, because we want to reach as many people as possible. We want this process to be as consultative as possible. Njizungu hicho. Njizungu. All right, so I have a friend of mine that has joined me, family friend of mine, Ruth, and I'm gonna bring Ruth back here, and we're going to just have a wonderful time here. Ruth, good to see you.
Good evening. How are you?
I'm great. I'm really, really honored to have you on TV, Bakwetu. I'm excited that you decided to join us today, and so that we can talk about one of the most important sectors of our economy, the agricultural sector. I hope you're doing okay. And I know you are traveling. You and I have been in touch. And everything okay? Did you have great meetings? I know you had
Yes,
a meeting.
it's cold out, but otherwise it's okay.
Good, 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 awesome. Hey, let's get
Yeah.
into it. The first thing that I want to do on this program, Ruth, is go ahead and ask you for a few minutes to introduce who you are, where you live, what you do. A lot of people might be wondering that are watching you for the first time. Why Ruth? Why is Ruth discussing, agriculture? Just share with us who you are and what you do.
Well, because Ruth always discusses agriculture. It's something I do a lot. Um, I'm based in Livingston. Um, I'm currently right now I'm speaking from Martindale Farm, which I've been living on since 1990, and I've been managing it since 1997.
Mhm.
But the last two and a half years, I've taken up another role. I'm a livestock manager on Hemp House Zambia. Now, Hemp House Zambia is a project that a group of people put together to try to solve um, some of the problems in the agriculture sector.
Mhm.
We've analyzed what's wrong with the sector and tried to find solutions to everything that's gone wrong in the sector. So we're looking at all the different challenges that farmers have and what the solutions are to each of them. And we've tried to put all those solutions together into one.
Okay.
So
Okay.
I'd
Good.
like to
Good. So,
expand on that later, but maybe
yes,
not right now.
yes. Yeah, that's great, Ruth, because I knew there wasn't a better person to invite to discuss this important topic because I know you are an expert in this subject matter. You are not just an expert, but you are an applied farmer, and you went to school for this. I know that for a fact. And one simple fact that a lot of people don't know, Ruth and I uh, come from Livingston. I come from Livingston, and during my young formative youth years, I spent a lot of time at our mother's house.
Yes,
Yeah, yeah, and we're like
this
family,
is
we're
true.
family friends, literally family friends. And so, Ruth, tell me, we just had a maize floor price announced. Let's start from there because I know this is a hot topic.
Yes.
And what is wrong with the price that the government gave up?
Um, I don't think there's particularly anything wrong with the price. What's wrong is the whole system, not the price
Okay,
per se.
expound on
Um,
that.
Everybody forgets that the FRA price is supposed to be a floor price. A
Mhm.
floor price is a price which nothing should fall below. So, meaning that the price shouldn't go below that. It's the last price, the buyer of last resort. So it shouldn't be anybody's first choice as a place to sell. Now,
Okay.
there's been a challenge with this floor price from its very inception, because when it was first brought in, the market price was so far below the cost of production that obviously there was huge pressure from farmers and organized pressure through ZNFU to have the floor price at least above the cost of production.
Hmm.
So that pressure has always been there from the beginning. And at times, FRA price was actually the highest price in the market instead of the floor price,
No.
which wasn't what it was conceived to be in the beginning. The idea was it should be the lowest price in the market, not the highest price in the market. But the
Right.
challenge was that the market was so far below cost of production that it ended up being at times the highest price, not the lowest. So it
Right.
ended up um, unexpectedly ending up being the price setter, which wasn't the intention of it when it was created.
Mm.
But there's bigger problems with the whole setup, and that is that our cost of production is unreasonably high. South Africa manages to land maize in Congo at half the price that Zambia can land maize in Congo.
Why
And
is
look
that?
at the distance there.
What are some of the drivers of the cost of production?
One reason why we are high cost of production place is because we are very far from the international market. So to get a bag of fertilizer to Zambia is going to cost a lot more than to get to South Africa. But not only that, we've got a lot of inefficiencies in between. How many people is that bag of fertilizer going to go through before it gets to the farmer? And how far is it going to travel? And then the other thing is the biggest factor is our low productivity. The national average maize yield in Zambia hovers around 2 tons per hectare. It goes up in good years and down in bad years, but on average, that's where it stands, 2 tons per hectare. That's 40 bags.
What is an ideal hectareage yield per hectare?
I think anybody that's getting less than 5 tons should stop growing maize and do something else. That's my personal opinion. Because 5 tons is not that difficult to achieve. And anything less than that means you're not serious. Basically, you don't know what you're doing, and you should either get an education or do something else.
Right. So your opinion, your expert opinion.
So if you look at cost of production, supposing you're growing maize in the conventional way, plowing, using fertilizer, using commercial seed, the guy who's getting 2 tons per hectare has basically the same input cost as the guy who's getting 5 or the guy who's getting 10. But his cost per bag is hugely different. So if you got 1 ton per hectare and I got 10 tons per hectare, my cost per bag is 1/10 of yours.
Right.
So your bag could be costing you 500 kwacha per bag, and mine could be costing me 50 kwacha per bag. And I will say the FRA price is fine, and you will say it's too low. Do you get what I'm saying?
That's agriculture economics right there, ladies and gentlemen.
Yes.
You got to, I need you to share. Just hold on, Ruth, before you continue. I need you to share this video because I want you to listen to this. Share so that the Minister of Agriculture also, because I know they watch these things. I need him to listen and I need him to join this, and so that he can learn 1 or 2 things from here. So what you're saying, the problem has been the cost of production. We have established that the cost of production, particularly if we go granular on this matter, is because of our inefficiencies in the production itself.
That is one of the factors, yes.
Okay.
Another is that we have tied ourselves to external inputs which come from outside, which are very subject to exchange rate fluctuations. How much fertilizer is manufactured in Zambia from scratch? I believe even nitrogen chemicals has to import most of the ingredients.
Yes.
So we've tied ourselves to a foreign exchange linked product. The same with herbicides, the same with pesticides. But it doesn't have to be that way. So Hemp Zambia, we've set ourselves out to prove that you can produce without imported inputs. So we're doing everything fully organic. And we're creating our own inputs on the farm. And so far, we've had some ups and downs. We've had some issues with 1 or 2 crops that hasn't done as well as we would like. It's taken us time to figure out how to deal with some of the pests, but we're getting there.
Right.
And our input cost then goes to labor. And the labor is to collect the materials to manufacture the compost, the worm manure, the cattle manure to be collected, and so on. So labor is something that most Zambian families actually have a surplus of. Most households have 2 or 3 or more unemployed adults, people without jobs,
Yes.
who can be used to collect the materials needed to manufacture the compost that we need to grow the crops. So it's not an unachievable thing.
So if the Minister of Agriculture is listening right now, what would you tell him? What should the government do to help reduce first the cost of doing business, and secondly to encourage efficiencies in the production of crops, grain, and whatever we're doing in agriculture?
That comes down to farmer education. And this is something that the Agricultural Extension Service should be doing. But the Agricultural Extension Service has been robbed of resources by the two main expenditures in agriculture, which is FISIP and FRA. Neither of which, in my opinion, should be under the agriculture budget at all, because they are not agricultural expenditures, they are social welfare. They are poverty alleviation. They are not agriculture.
Hold on for a second. I want the minister to hear this. The FISP and also the FRA are not supposed to be under the Ministry of Agriculture.
Yes, they should be under social welfare. They're under social welfare.
Social welfare.
Yes.
So those two programs are misplaced.
Yes. And they primarily alleviate urban poverty, not rural poverty.
Explain more about that.
Why do we need cheap mealie meal?
Because we are the...
Why does everybody cry for cheap mealie meal? Is it the rural farmer who wants cheap mealie meal or the urban unemployed?
The urban, of course.
Yes. And the urban employed can afford mealie meal. Am I right?
Yes.
A bag of mealie meal now is 130, 140. And the salary on average, what's the average wage in Zambia? Do you know?
I don't know. Maybe I've no idea what the average wage is.
But the legal minimum is 1,000. The legal minimum is 1,050.
Right.
So let's say that a bag of mealie meal is slightly up, around 15% of a wage.
Mm-hmm.
And I can remember years when the minimum wage was less than the price of mealie meal. Mealie meal is not expensive now. Mealie meal has been expensive in the past, but it's not now. When we graduated from university, the average civil servant salary, 50% went on just mealie meal.
No, but hold
so
on.
Meaning if you compare wages and prices from then to now, if a civil servant, the beginner now gets maybe a 3,000, meaning 2 bags of mealie meal would cost 1.5, which means a bag would be 750 kwacha. That would be the comparative price to when some of us entered the job market.
Yes.
As graduates.
And by the way,
so mealie meal is cheap. It's not expensive.
I'll come back to that because I know our followers here and your followers are scratching their head and say, Ruth Henson is saying a mealie meal is cheaper now than then.
Yes. By far.
So why are we feeling poor? Why are we feeling poor?
I think one thing is people's expectations are much higher, which is a good thing. We are better off generally as a country, which is a good thing. But we should not be crying for the price of mealie meal to be so low that we impoverish our rural relatives to the extent to which they are impoverished. So you're expecting a rural farmer to subsidize an urban dweller Why?
So what you're saying is our rural citizens are feeding the
Are
urban,
subsidizing
are
urban,
subsidizing the urban
yes,
dwellers.
yes, by not even paying themselves the legal minimum wage.
So really, it's not. If you look at the factors of production, really
Yeah.
well, the people in the rural areas are the ones who are paying the price,
Yes,
not
because
necessarily the government.
they're not even paying themselves the legal minimum wage to grow your food. For a farmer to pay himself 1,000 kwacha, and his wife, who works even harder, 1,000 kwacha, and his nephew, his cousin, his brother, his son, who are all slaving in those fields the whole rainy season to produce that maize. If he paid everybody that works the legal minimum wage, the maize price should be higher than it is. But
That's
we
a
are
fact.
working, but we are all working for mahala, for you guys in town to complain.
The town dwellers
No,
are
seriously, the
complaining.
maize price is too low.
So the town
The
dwellers
maize
are
price should be higher, but I know it's political. It's always political. So the FRA becomes a tool of politics to keep urban people happy. So the FRA either sells at the price which it bought, or it sells below the price which it bought. So government subsidizes Millimil by funding FRA. FRA should fund itself by buying low and selling high. The millers are using FRA to do their storage for them, to do their financing for them, to do their transportation for them.
That is so tell me, how do we rebalance the factors of production to where the rural dwellers
The real solution is
and
create
continue,
urban
Rose,
jobs.
continue. I'm a plug my phone, my laptop in. Please continue explaining.
The real solution is create urban jobs. Because as soon as somebody gets a job, what does he do first? Before anything else? What do you think? What's his
Well,
first priority?
buy a car, borrow money.
No, no. Before that, he's going to eat breakfast, lunch, and supper.
That's exactly right. Keep going, Ruth.
Uh-huh.
Explain that point. Let me.
So
I'm here.
as soon as somebody is employed and he eats breakfast, lunch, and supper, there's market for the farmer. So the farmer has got market.
Right.
And the price is not so much of an issue. Do you know how much a cob of roasted maize goes for in the streets? 5 kwacha
5 kwacha.
for one cob. And people buy them and people eat them. So they shouldn't complain about the price of millimel. Seriously, they shouldn't. If they're willing to pay 5 kwacha for a roasted cob of maize.
This is making a lot of sense. And a lot of people need to understand these very important explanations as to what is wrong with our agricultural sector. And so this is where we come in. I have been proposing a policy shift. And I'm saying,
Yeah.
you tell me here, I've been proposing, and I'm going to continue proposing a policy shift. What I'm saying to the minister, number one, is that we need to take, based on what you have said, we need to take the FISP and FRA out of agriculture ministry. Because
Yes.
what's happening is that if we leave those two programs under the agriculture ministry,
They take 90% of the funding.
they take 90% of the funding. in the
Yes.
budget.
So there's no funding. There's no funding for agricultural extension, agricultural education, which is the game changer. If
And
you can
also,
educate a farmer, if you can educate a farmer to get his maize yield from 2 tons to 2.5, or from 2 tons to 5 tons, without extra inputs, just by management change, then it's a whole different scenario for everybody, for the farmer, for the consumer, and all it takes is better management. Then the other thing that we need to do is to take the focus off maize.
take the focus of maize.
Where you are living now, how much maize are you eating?
Very little.
Uh-huh. Have you died yet?
No, no. I've gained a
I
lot.
don't. So we need a society that can eat sweet potatoes for breakfast and bread for lunch and nshima for supper, or rice or potatoes or whatever. That we are not so fixated on maize.
So how do we get our rural dwellers?
But we also need the farmer to diversify his cropping, because one of the solutions to better production is organic production. Another solution to better production is things like crop rotation. Somebody says, that's my maize field, already know that is a failure, because if that's your maize field, it should not be your maize field that was your maize field last year or next year. It has to rotate with a legume.
Right. So
we have to diversify. We have to have maize and sunflower and soya and cowpeas and local beans and. But why are farmers not growing those on any significant scale? We don't have really an organized market for them.
Well, maybe because
there's
like
informal
say, the welfare funding is only going to maize.
Mostly. There is significant informal markets. So improving the informal market for the other commodities would help. Developing export markets for them would help. How much fertilizer do you need to grow local beans? Seriously. I don't think you need any at all.
No.
So how much fertilizer do people use for sweet potatoes? How much fertilizer do people use for groundnuts?
Very little.
So we can get away from fertilizers. We don't need them. We have just become addicted to a drug.
Ladies and gentlemen, you're watching Punch for Punch. I have a special guest today, my good friend and family friend, Ruth Henson, from Livingston. She is a formidable farmer. I've ate some of the produces that Martindale Farm produces, and she supplies us all over Livingston and around and the surrounding area. And if you want an advice on how to do farming, this is a person to listen to. If you want to understand what are some of the difficulties that we are going through, this is the person to listen to. And so, Ruth, let me come back to the question I asked you. We are proposing a policy as individual, people, ordinary citizens. We are saying, why don't we have a deliberate policy to encourage unemployed adults in the urban areas to go back to farming in the rural areas, take up farming, and
you know what will do that? You know what will achieve that? What do young people want? All the young unemployed, what do they want?
Live in towns.
No, why do they want to live in town?
Well, I mean, of course, aesthetics reasons. They think that's where the jobs are.
No. They think that's where the money is.
Of course, yes.
So make agriculture lucratively profitable. Everybody will run for it.
That's what we're trying to do. That's what we're so our policy.
So now listen.
Go ahead.
Now listen to what we are aiming to do at Hemp House.
And
What
I
we
was
are
going to
aiming
come
to
to
do
that.
at the Hemp House is that we have seen that there's a problem with agriculture, that we are tied to inputs that are beyond our control. We are tied to prices that are beyond our control. We are mostly tied to the local market, which has serious limitations as to volume. So, eHemp House, we decided let's cut ourselves off from inputs that are outside our control. Let's make our own inputs. So we're fully organic. Except a little bit on the livestock sector. We are not yet fully organic there, but we are heading that direction. Then let us look for the highest value products that we can find.
Mm-hmm.
And this is why we have targeted hemp as our number one product.
Okay.
Because that is the most profitable crop that we can think of to grow. And the other reason why farmers are always crying is because somebody else does the value addition. You produce the raw material, someone else processes it and makes the money. And this is true in the crop sector and the livestock sector. Do you think any milling company runs at a loss?
No.
But do farmers run at a loss?
They
Yes,
do all
frequently.
the time. Yeah.
How much does a butcher offer me for a pig, and how much can I get for the same pig if I make sausages out of it? It's a whole different ballgame.
So you
So,
make.
eHemp
Let me
House.
stay there. Let me stay there for a second, Ruth. So let's
Yeah.
get a very practical example from your experience.
Yeah.
You get a pig, you slaughter
Yeah.
it, you package it,
Yeah.
and I know you do that for goat meat and other stuff. It's more valuable to do that than sell a pig, right?
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Give me the
The
economy.
last
Give me the
time
economy.
the last time I spoke to a butcher about a pig, he offered me 35 kwacha per kg carcass weight. I saw pork chops in a shop yesterday for 75 kwacha per kg, and sausages for 85, and smoked ribs for 120. So that is the difference between processed and unprocessed.
So you tripled, you more than doubled.
Oh yes.
You more than doubled your profit by processing your own. And
So
I'm
if
making
you
this.
give the butcher, literally you're working for the butcher and the milling company, because what the butcher gives you, 90% of it will go to the milling company. So you will remain with maybe 10%. So if you produce your own feed and do your own processing, then you have something substantial left in between. So coming back to the industrial hemp,
And
the one reason why we have picked industrial hemp is because it has 25,000 products.
Explain.
Let that sink in. 25,000 products that you can make from industrial hemp. Jeans were invented by Mr. Levi.
Yeah.
They were not made out of cotton, they were made out of hemp. Hemp jeans will last for 10 years.
How?
The sails which carried ships across the oceans were made out of hemp because it's strong. They don't easily tear in a storm. We can make ropes out of it. We can make clothing out of it. We can make tents out of it. That's the fiber from the stalk. The leftover from the fiber from the stalk, you can make ceiling board, you can make chipboard, and you can add lime and build buildings with it. And that's called hempcrete. And that is a building material that's fire resistant and that's insulating from heat and cold. And it's a very versatile building material. So that's just the stem of the plant. If we take the seed and run it through an oil press, that oil you can use it as an edible oil. You can use it as a fuel, biodiesel. We can generate power with it. We can run vehicles on it. And then you can use that oil to manufacture substitutes for all the plastics that are currently made from the oil that's mined out of the ground. Then the seed cake is more nutritious than soya cake. We can make human food out of it. All the things that are currently made out of soya can be made out of hemp seed cake, stock feed. So what's not to like? So we want to grow the crop and put up the processing. If we put up the processing, then it's not economic to put up a processing factory for one farm. We want to put up processing factories for all the farms.
Yes.
And then we want to export some of the product.
So
exporting it gives us income in forex that we have not imported fertilizer to produce. You get the different scenario now. Maize, we are importing fertilizer to grow maize to consume. Hemp, we are going to create our own inputs to make products that we will consume and export.
So is hemp the same thing as marijuana?
The plants are more or less the same plant, but there's different varieties that has different levels of THC. THC is the substance which makes people run for the marijuana. It makes you high. So if it has above 0.3% THC, it will be classed as the drug, and it will be legal to grow for medical purposes. That one is under the Ministry of Health, and they've delegated Zambian National Service to do it. So I personally don't think that's a good decision, because they don't know anything about growing it, and I don't know. Government in business doesn't usually work very well. Anyway, that's their decision. That's their decision. Let them live with the consequences. The industrial hemp.
You're gonna have soldiers on something. That's not a good thing.
Industrial hemp, which is below 0.3% THC, is under the Ministry of Agriculture. And as far as I know, all we are waiting for is permission to go ahead and grow it, which we have been waiting for now for 2.5 years. Anyway,
hold on.
But it went through Parliament last year in May or June, and it was signed by the president, and then we had a change of government. Then the new government has to get up to speed with where everything is, and so on and so on. But they keep saying they're working on it. They're working on it. So
hold on for a second. This is where me and my people come in, because my people we deal with politics and policies to put pressure on the government to act. If that is a money maker.
So then listen to my proposal. Okay. My proposal is that the only requirements for industrial hemp should be 3. One is that a national register is maintained, which any farmer intending to grow industrial hemp should add his name to that list and the location of his field. These days we've got cell phones, we've got GPS, you can find your latitude and longitude in 2 seconds. So you register yourself, preferably online, to say, my name is so and so and so, or my company and so and so and so, and my field is located between this point and this point, and I intend to grow industrial hemp. That's step 1, a national register.
Okay.
And preferably that should be a public document. Then 2.
Let me bring my board. Hold on. Let me bring my board, because people have to hear.
Come on, these are very simple. The second one. The second one is that the farmer should be required to send samples for testing at specified points during the production. Okay. So let somebody who is an expert in this decide at which point during the production that a sample must be taken and sent for testing, because we want to make sure that the THC is below the required level.
Right.
So
number
if
one,
if they say by such and such a stage, by the time it's knee high or by the time it's waist high or whatever point that it has to be tested, that point should be specified and the farmers should know. And we need a place to send the samples for testing.
Okay.
So we need access to a lab.
To lab.
Then requirement 3 should be that DEC can come and sample whenever they feel like, such that if I took, should be able to come and cross-check my sampling, so that if I want to be funny and I want to grow the other one on the other corner of the field, and I've sent the samples from this corner for testing to try and cover up the fact that I'm growing the other one, then drug enforcement should be able to come and test at random from any point. I think that's fair. So as far as I'm concerned, I can't see any need for anything beyond this for industrial hemp to be grown. So I think the challenge. The challenge is that the Ministry of Agriculture doesn't actually know enough about the crop to decide what regulations to put in place. That's my opinion.
Ruth, this is where you come in. This is where you come in.
Yes.
You as an expert.
My workmates.
Have you had a chance to meet
my
with
workmates?
The minister?
My workmates are just preparing materials now to go to the show in the Copper Belt next week for the same purpose.
Let me ask you this. Have you had an audience with the Minister of Agriculture?
My workmates have been many times. I think they interacted with the PS.
No.
With the minister, yes, we have written letters.
We need the minister himself. We need the minister himself to look at this, because this is a game changer. This is a game changer for the people of Zambia.
It's simple and straightforward, in my opinion. Anyway,
Okay.
the other thing about industrial hemp, all of us have started to feel the effects of climate change. Which part of the US are you in right now?
North Carolina. It's southeast.
Are the summers getting unpleasantly warm?
It's very hot right now. It's blazing hot.
And are you some parts are getting increased tornadoes and things like that? Increased cyclones, hurricanes.
Yes, we are about to get into the tornado season in the Midwest.
Abnormally high numbers. Am I right?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Yes.
We have abnormally high temperatures, and we have abnormal low temperatures during winters.
And the fires in California, the fires in Arizona, it's bad.
Yes.
So as humanity on this earth, we've got to accept that we've messed up our environment and we've got to fix it. Yes, we can stop putting more carbon into the air. Yes, people are slowly switching to solar power, to wind power, to hydro power, and various electric cars and stuff like that. But who is tackling the carbon which is already in the air?
No one.
No one.
Carbon
the only people who can do that are farmers.
Explain.
And we can do that.
Can you explain?
We can do that by going organic. The average soil in Zambia in a farmland has 0.5% carbon or below, 0.5 or below percent carbon. A forest floor might have as much as 3%. So we can get organic farm soil back to 3%, like a forest floor, fairly quickly. If you are good at maths, am I right?
Mm-hmm.
If you take carbon in a soil in the top, say 10 centimeters, from 0.5% to 3%, over a hectare, how much carbon is that?
Say those numbers one more time.
You have taken 0.5% to 3% over a hectare on, say, the top 10 centimeters of soil. How much carbon have you locked up?
I gotta calculate that. Let's go to the board.
Do you know that if we just went organic on half of Southern Africa, we could remove all the carbon that has been released into the air in the entire industrial revolution for the last 80 or 100 years?
So why are we not doing it?
Exactly.
No, seriously, why are we not doing it? What is the problem?
Because people will tell you that you can only do organic on a small scale. We want to prove that wrong. We want to prove that with hemp, you can do it on a bigger scale. We want to prove that it's possible.
So let's just say, in an ideal world, we give you an audience to the president of the Republic of Zambia, Mr. Hakainde Hichilema. Because if the ministers are not acting, we are going to seek the audience of the president himself. That's what we need to do. Because, and the reason why I'm saying that is because any inaction.
All we are asking for is give us permission to grow industrial hemp.
Let's do it.
It's legal. Since last year, it's legal.
Let me ask you this, Ruth. You as a company, your company that is leading this charge, how can you incorporate other Zambians into that? Is there a scheme? How can more people participate?
There's an organization that has been set up, which has been going now for almost 2 years, called Hemp.
Okay.
And this is our company working together with the Green Party and the chiefs and any farmer who's interested in being involved. The idea is that first we run trials and see which varieties work best for the Zambian climate. And we experiment with products and we see what's going to work. Because with something new, you can't always expect to be a success from square one. You have to do a bit of research. And then as soon as we get all the nitty-gritties sorted, then it's rolled out to province by province, each province to start with about 100 hectares. When they get that sorted out, then it goes district by district, because all the chiefs wants to see development in all their areas.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So that's the way it is now. So we have a group of farmers who are interested in growing, and we are all in communication with each other, and we are all waiting for the government.
Okay. I've noted that down, and I'm going to send some emails and make some good noise about it.
Make some noise, please. Make some noise. There's an English saying that I'm very fond of. The wheel which squeaks is the one you put grease.
That's right. That's exactly right. So
I dedicate myself to keep squeaking.
That's right. So Ruth, if you were to sum up what our discussion and pick very important points and say, look, I'm communicating to the minister, I'm communicating to the president. What are the 4 top issues that you want to communicate to the minister and the president? And I'll write them down.
The first one is we need permission to grow industrial hemp as soon as possible, because we believe it's an economic game changer.
Okay.
That one is our top priority.
Okay.
The second one is that farmer education is crucial.
Okay, farmer
So there
education.
needs to be some serious funding into farmer education, extension services, or bring them to us for training in organic. We do organic training. We're
Okay,
training anybody that can come.
okay.
Yeah. So we can get
How
away
about
if we
the
have enough.
moving?
Hmm?
How about the moving
Pardon?
of the FISP and FRA out of agriculture?
I've been sending that one to the Ministry of Finance every year for years and years on end. You know, when they advertise for the what do you want in next year's budget, I usually send that one in.
So you've been sending these things. So let me do, hold on for a second here. Let me do an advocacy work here. Zambians, those of you that are watching, I want you to understand one thing. For us to be able to develop, these are the ideas. If we want to reduce joblessness, these are the ideas. If you want us to improve the livelihood of the youths, these are the ideas. What Ruth Henson is saying is that there is a problem in Zambia. And the problem is that when we share the budget amongst ministries, because I have to explain to my people so they understand what we're talking about. When we share the budget amongst ministries, the Ministry of Agriculture, everything that agriculture gets, most of it, about 90% of the budget for agriculture, goes to FISP and FRA. Okay? Fertilizer, input support program. I don't know what they call it now. Fertilizer input support program. And also FRA to purchase the maize. That is not agriculture. Do you understand what I'm saying, people? These two things take up most of the funding that goes to agriculture. And because these two things take up most of the funding, the government has very little funding towards the agriculture extension services, has very little funding towards agriculture education. That is where the problem is. That is what we need to solve. The Ruth is saying, I'm explaining to you so that you understand. Ruth is saying we need to take FISP and FRA out of agriculture and put it under social welfare, under the Ministry of Community Development and Social Services. Put it there and let that be programs under that, or make them independent authorities. Okay, make FRA and FSP together and make it an independent parastatal authority. And that way it's detached from the Ministry of Agriculture. I've done mine. Now, we're going to take up some actions later on about that.
You wanted 4. You wanted 4. Let me add 1.
Okay, go ahead.
Decent passable rural roads. I was a little bit late starting this meeting because it took me 30 minutes to drive 10 kilometers. Think about that a little bit. How long does it take you to drive 10 kilometers, and how long does it take me to drive 10 kilometers?
And that
what
is what you're saying, the representative of the rural roads?
No, ours is way better than most. That is better than most rural roads. So most rural roads are worse than that. So you're looking at the 160 that a farmer is getting for his bag of maize. How much of that is going to the transporter? 20, 30, 40? And how much is the farmer taking home? Because the road is so bad.
So with the roads,
the same story in the other direction with his input. If his bag of fertilizer, whatever his bag of fertilizer is costing, plus transport, which is high because the road is bad. I once had a chance to visit some villages on the other side of the border, on the Vic Falls side, and the roads we were using in those villages, you could comfortably do 120 on a dirt road. Yes.
Wow. So
Comfortably, 120.
our roads in the rural
Our
area
roads,
are bad.
you will drive at 15 kilometers per hour or 20 kilometers per hour on a Zambian rural road, and a Zimbabwean rural road we were doing 120. So
what is
that
the
will
problem?
bring, we need a grader.
So
When did I
is
last
ZNS?
see? I don't know.
Can
The
ZNS
council,
help?
the council grader died a long time ago. When there was a council grader, we graded the road by the farmers putting the fuel in because they didn't have fuel. They had a grader, they didn't have fuel. Last year, last year, one of my neighbors has a grader, and he said, "Guys, if you can contribute fuel, I will do." And we contributed fuel, and he did. But that's a farmer who pays tax to a government that doesn't grade the road. The urban again has taken priority over the rural. Are rural people not citizens in this country? Why are we neglected?
That's a very important point.
Don't we vote?
That's very important. So
the other thing that's the other thing that's going to happen if you grade a rural road is that the school will have teachers and the clinic will have staff. You know, people run away from rural clinics and schools.
Because it's so rural, you can't get there. Nothing gets there.
No, what happens is that for you to go to town to check whether your salary is in takes you a day. And then you have to sleep in town to do your shopping, and it takes you a whole day back. You're out of class or work for 3 days. And they grade the road, and all of a sudden you can get to town in an hour and a half and do your shopping and come back the same day. And then that school has staff. And then the clinic has staff, just by grading the road. But the thing is with rural roads, it's not like tar roads that you can build it and go. They need maintenance on a continuous basis.
Constant
culverts
grading.
The culverts needs to be cleaned, the drains need to be cleaned, the surface needs to be regraded. If it's a road with more than 50 vehicles a day, you need to grade it every 2 months. But it's not expensive compared to tar roads. They're a tiny, tiny fraction. You dig in the national budget or somewhere and find out the cost of maintaining a good dirt road and the cost of building tar roads.
Oh my God.
There's no comparison.
No comparison.
Yeah, we can do probably 100 kilometers of dirt road for every kilometer of tar. But no, we have forgotten the dirt roads and we are busy building tar roads.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is Punch for Punch. Welcome again. If you just joined us, we've done almost an hour of discussion. Listen, you do not want to miss this kind of discussion because some of the people that I've actually been talking to, Ruth, to tell you the truth, is a lot of zealous and energetic young people who want to go into farming. And so, what is your advice for young people that and any Zambian out there that want to go into farming? How do you start? Where do you start? And that will be my last question.
I would recommend them to start by coming for training with us at Hemp House. We do organic training. We charge 950 kwacha for 4 days training, which not only covers how to make compost, but also a bit of the mindset change.
Mm-hmm.
Things like learning how to use what you've got, learning how to start with what you have, but at the same time, keeping on thinking of putting money into your future. You eat an avocado, you put the seed in the soil. It takes 7 years to fruit, but 7 years will come.
Yes.
You know? The day comes when it fruits. Even a pawpaw, you know, you eat it, you plant the seed. Doesn't cost you a lot to keep those things going. And the day comes, I saw pawpaws on the streets of Livingston the other day. They were charging 10 for the tiny ones, 20 for the mediums, and 40 for the big ones. How much does it cost you to grow a pawpaw? Seriously. There's so much that you can do with what you have. So many young people want to go into farming. They can't because they have got no capital, they've got no land, they've got no this, no that. Don't look at what you haven't got. Look at what you have got.
And that's
Every Zambian, I believe, has access to land somewhere. You have an uncle or a cousin or a grandfather who lived in a village somewhere. If that isn't suitable, go to the one nearest to you, create a relationship with the people, express an interest in being productive. The rural areas need productive people.
Let me tell you a story. You know, and you probably know this. Your dad worked in Mapanza area. You know,
Yeah.
I went to Chief Mapanza in Southern Province. I was actually just getting out of Linda High School. I just graduated Linda High School. And you know, at church, at St. Andrew's Anglican Church, we had the youth program. And so I was elected the youth coordinator for the Anglican Archdiocese of Southern Province. And so what I did was, I was just a high school graduate then. I took me and Jimmy and others, we drove to that Toyota Hilux bus. We drove it to Mapanza mission station, and we told the priest, can you arrange a meeting with Chief Mapanza? We want to meet him. And this is a true story. We went there. I talked to Chief Mapanza, and I told Chief Mapanza, I said, Your Royal Highness, we have, as young people, we have a desire to go into agriculture, but we want to do it here in Mapanza. Will you please dedicate a piece of land where we can do farming and rear goats? Do you know he gave us land?
Yeah.
Zambians
are blessed that every Zambian has access to land somewhere. Not in the center of Lusaka.
Not in Lusaka.
But somewhere.
Yeah.
Yes.
So Chief Mapanza.
So get out of the mindset of you need land in the center of town. No, you don't need land in the center of town. But if you need land, there is somewhere that you can find that someone will let you use. Then use the resources that you have. Use what you have. If all you have is labor, use labor. There are things you can grow with seeds that you can actually pick, you know?
Yeah, you're right.
The seeds from the things you eat, put them in the soil, at the very least.
Yeah, make a mango farm. I mean, plant mangoes over time, like you say.
Or grow the seedlings and sell seedlings. Or grow the trees and sell the fruit. You know, it's not impossible. It's not easy, but it's not impossible. So what I say to the youngsters is do something. Start. You'll learn. You'll learn a lot. You may learn some hard lessons, but you learn. And then the other thing is the youngsters have got the opportunity now of being connected to the internet. Everybody who's got a smartphone in his pocket has access to all the knowledge in the world. It's 2 clicks away. So ignorance is a choice. If you want to know something, find out. Look it up. Learn how to use Google. Learn how to use YouTube. There's all the practical skills are shown on there. You want to graft fruit trees. If you want to graft a better variety onto your mango seedlings, go on YouTube. There's videos that shows you how to do it. I really get sad to see young people using the internet for gossip, for movies, for football, and not for knowledge. If you want a degree in agriculture, you have to pay But if you want the knowledge in the degree in agriculture, most of the courses are free online.
Online, on YouTube, on
Yeah,
everything is on, it was on there.
just look it up. You find the courses. They'll charge you for the certificate. They'll charge you for the exam. Do you need that? If you want to farm, no, you don't need that. You need the knowledge. Then you can join groups of other farmers where the questions are asked and answered. There are discussions. You know,
Let me
people
give
share
up.
the data for free.
Let me share. Which number do you want us to share? The Hemp. Who can the youth contact for training if they want training from
For
your
eHemp
company?
House, 0977
09. I'm gonna put it in here. If you want to contact
yeah,
Hemp, you need to call this number for training. This is training.
09 yeah
0977
17
17
35
35
88.
88.
Yes.
All right, we're gonna put it right there. That's the number. This is the number that you call if you want training in agriculture. This is the number that you call. Now,
Then there's an email.
There's an email.
There's an email as well. Info,
Yes.
that's INFO
Mm-hmm.
at ehhzam.com.
All right. Let me say that one more time. It's info at ehhzam.com.
AM. Yeah.
Yes. And that's the email. Okay.
And we have a Facebook page. If people can't come for training yet, you can still follow our page and learn a lot.
Gotcha.
Just look for
What is the
eHemp
page?
House Zambia, you find it. It's facebook.com/EHH Zambia.
EHH Zambia.
That should get you there.
Right. And this is Facebook.
That should link to the Facebook page.
Mm-hmm.
.com/EHH Zambia should get you straight there.
Mm-hmm.
Does that link go straight through? It should.
I'm trying to make sure it does. We've shared it. We've shared it, and I hope that youths that are watching, that have been asking me about who do you want to call on and join and get help out to start in agriculture, Ruth will help you. Okay, some of the things are not free.
I have limited time, but I do answer as many questions as I can, as often as I can. Genuine agriculture questions, I do.
Now, I'm going to give them a job too. Ruth, listen to this, because this is how we do it at TV Bakwetu. I'm going to give you, the youths, a job. You're going to make good noise. We are going to help the agricultural sector to do the following. You have a job to do. We want the Minister of Agriculture to allow the industrial production of hemp in Zambia. It's already been approved by the previous government. It went through parliament.
It went through parliament. Yeah.
The president signed off on it. President Edgar Lungu signed off on it. The current administration So what
where we are now is we just need the processes approved. That's it. It's like it's like knowing how to drive a car, but you don't have a driving license yet.
Exactly. So
we just need that
little bit. I'm asking you youths to make good noise. I want you to contact your local MP. Contact your local MP. Go to their offices, find them at parliament and tell them we want industrial hemp Akashamba has sent us to tell you, you need to tell the Minister of Agriculture to approve industrial hemp production in Zambia, because we, the youths, are going to go into farming with the help of Hemp Zambia. That's what I want you youths to do. I need you to commit to this, because we are going to take action ourselves on things that government is sleeping on. That's what we're going to do. That's what we are going to do.
And it will create a big boost in employment immediately.
We are going to have, my goal is to ensure that we get as many youths as possible productive and active, and stop waiting for government jobs.
Hemp House so far is employing 51 people. Our phase 1 of our business plan needs 168.
Okay. I'm going to write
phase
that.
1.
What's the name of Hemp House?
Hemp House Zambia. I sent you the link in Messenger.
Okay. All right. Let me pull it up right quick, because we that's what we do here at this TV station, TV Bakwetu. We give you solutions, not just talking every day about things that don't even make sense or are not productive. So I'm going to type it here so that there's a link so that you guys can go and apply for these jobs. Okay, there's a looking for people, and Ruth will take care of you. I know that for a fact, because
we can't employ any more until we get permission to grow hemp.
That right. We need to get permission to grow hemp, and this hemp,
then we have more jobs.
We are going to hire people, 50 people, and so on and so forth. So you have a job to do. We have jobs waiting here. The minister is sitting on jobs. Okay, the minister is sitting on jobs. We need to get this.
And that's just on one farm.
That is on
one province.
Farm.
That's not counting all the others.
50 jobs on one farm. Munimvera Mama Youth. 50 jobs. What we need, the minister right now is sitting on jobs. If we get 10 farmers, we are talking about 500 jobs. Okay? If you multiply that by 10 farms at the same number of jobs, we're talking about 500 jobs. This is how we create jobs, guys. This is how we make money, and we make the economy moving. So you have a job, each one of you, to advocate for yourselves. Tell them we have jobs. If you can allow industrial hemp to start the production. Ruth has given us solutions. What needs to be done? Number one, we need a national register. National register, so that each farmer who's growing hemp is registered, is known, and there's quality assurance in there. Number two, we need inspections. We need inspections to be done by DEC or anyone, and we need to make sure that there is inspections that are done. What was the third one, Ruth?
The DEC was the third one. The second one was that the farmer sends samples for testing.
Exactly. The
farmer should be able to have his crop tested to make sure that it complies.
It complies.
And then DEC should be able to randomly test it at any time they feel like, just to make sure, because some people will try to game the system. You know, there's always people.
Right. Ruth, thank you so much. I appreciate you for taking the time. I know you are a very, very busy person. You're always on the farm working. I want you to just know we appreciate you as TV Bakwetu for you to come on and talk to the people of Zambia and talk to us. This was very informative, very educative. A lot of people appreciate this program. I might bring you back here because the time was too short. And a lot of
agriculture. I can talk about agriculture from one end of the week to the other.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Ruth, and greetings to the kids and the family. And I wish you
All right.
well and have a wonderful, wonderful evening.
All right. Good
Thank you
night.
so much. Bye bye. And there you have it. This is Akashambatwa. This is what the Tongas now are calling me. They're calling me Haga Shambatwa. And this has been Punch for Punch. Thank you for watching. You have heard it yourselves. It's coming from an expert. It's coming from someone who has done farming all our life. If we want to create jobs in the country, we can't all be employed by the government. It's not possible. Do not be cheated. No, they have not hired teachers. No, they have not hired nurses. No, they haven't hired me. Jobs are supposed to be created by us, the people. So if you missed my initial announcement, we are making a private group. We are making a private group. This will have only limited people. We want to write a policy document. And this policy document is called the Agriculture Empowerment Scheme. The Citizens Agriculture Empowerment Scheme. This policy, listen to me, this is not a business where we're giving out money. No, we are writing a policy proposal to the Ministry of Agriculture and Ministry of Lands. Because some of you have been texting me already the wrong things. We are making a group so that we can do a consultative process. Iguru yamene tipanga yapa Facebook. Tifuna tilembe proposal to the Minister of Agriculture and Minister of Lands. Aba babiri ma ministers. Tifuna tibalembele kuti proposal ya empowerment kuti ni so na so. Tifuna in all the 10 provinces, we want to talk to the chiefs and chieftainesses to acquire land. We want land released for this scheme. Your land, we are going to then sieve through the applications so that our pass land. This land will be tied to a scheme. In this scheme, we are going to have technical support for agro-business, number one. Number two, we are going to lobby the financial institutions to attach capital investments into those farms. Number three, another set of capital will be given. We would want to bring the banks and financial institutions to guarantee marketing and crop production for processing for export. For export. Okay? If you grow grain, if you're packaging chickens, we want you to package it for exports to Congo DR, to Mozambique, to Malawi. That's what this scheme is about. Okay? This is not, oh, Nibuela, I'm coming to get a farm. No, we are going to write a proposal. We're going to give it to the minister. The minister will work through that and probably bring it up as a proposal through cabinet. That's what we're doing in that group. So stay here. Follow TV Bakwetu. Follow the page. Share the page. Share Masheka Kashamba to a page, because this is where we discuss real issues. Have a good day. Have a good night.